Yo, what up? It's your boy, Mr. E, and today we're going to learn how we can carry and borrow with mixed numbers. Before I get too far in the video, something I was noticing is my video quality is not that great. Thank you, Paxton, from Mrs. Martin class for pointing that out. So I wanted to hear your suggestions. What are a better webcam or video camera that I can use so that the quality can be a little bit better? So let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions, okay? But what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to admit to you guys, while I was creating this video, I was struggling a little bit with this. This is kind of some tough stuff, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at just a couple of examples, and I want you to try your hardest to keep up with what we're doing, okay? We are going to get a lot of practice with this, guys, and this is going to become easier. But just know, it's okay to struggle, and that's just because we need to have a growth mindset, okay? If we have a growth mindset, we're going to be able to get this stuff done easy, okay? So let's take a look at a problem. So typically we've been adding pretty simple proper fractions, okay? We haven't been getting any mixed numbers. We've had to do some, finding LCD, and that's a little bit tricky, but we haven't had anything too hard thrown our way yet, okay? So let's see one where we do have to add mixed numbers together. So we have 4 3/4 plus 2 5/8. So we would stack these two numbers on top of each other. We would find our WIC column, and we'd find the LCD. So the LCD would be 8. Something I do notice is that the LCD can also, or not the LCD, but another common denominator could be 16. We want to choose 8 so we don't have to simplify as much at the end. So we're going to multiply to create our new fraction, which is equivalent. But when we multiply, we're only multiplying by the improper or by the proper fraction, not by the whole number, okay? So we're not going to multiply and change the whole number at all, okay? So we say 4 3/4 is equivalent to 4 6/8. Which makes sense. 2 5/8 is equivalent to 2 5/8 because we didn't have to change it, okay? Now, here's where things get a little different, okay? So I want us to consider these two numbers as two different place values. We have our fraction place value, which is equivalent to less than 1, okay? So if you're in a proper fraction, that's going to be less than 1, okay? And then we have our ones place value, which are numbers that are greater than 1, okay? So these are two different place values. Now, we're going to add just like we normally would, but something I noticed right away is 6 plus 5 gives me 11, and now I have an improper fraction, or a fraction where the numerator is greater than the denominator. So something we need to remember is that any number over itself is equivalent to 1. So in this case, 8 over 8 is equivalent to 1. So what we should do, just like if we were carrying, if we were adding, or if we were adding whole numbers or adding decimals, we would carry over to the next place value. So I'm going to take 8 over 8 away from it to make it 3/8, and I'm going to carry over my 1. Then I add 1 plus 4 plus 2, which gives me 7. Now I ask myself, am I done? And the answer is no. We need to check if we can simplify. But 3 is a prime number, and 8 is not divisible by 3, so we're good to go, okay? So if there's one thing that I would write down in your journal so that you can remember how to carry when adding mixed numbers, is we need to make sure that if you need to carry, change the improper fraction into a mixed number and carry the 1 to the next place value, okay? So that's how we do it with carrying. Now let's take a look at an example if we were borrowing, okay? So we have 7 1/3 minus 5 5/6. So again, we would stack the numbers on top of each other. We'd create our WIC column and find our least common denominator is 6. We'd multiply to get our new fraction, which is equivalent. Remember, 7 1/3 is equivalent to 7 2/6. And 5 5/6 is equivalent to 5 5/6. Again, we're going to take a look at these as two different place values. We have the fraction place value, that's going to be less than 1. If we were thinking about this with decimals, it'd be like the tenths place or the hundredths place or the thousandths place, okay? Then we have numbers that are in the ones place, which are equivalent to 1 or greater. So now what we're going to do is we notice 2 minus 5, I can't do that. That'd give me a negative number, and that's not something we can do. If we were subtracting with whole numbers or decimals, all we would simply do is go next door and we'd borrow 1. So we change the 7 to a 6. Now, it's not as simple as just adding 1 to the numerator, because if we added 1, really we're only adding 1/6. So what we need to remember is adding 1 really means that we're going to add a fraction. So any number over itself, that's going to mean 1. So we're going to add 6 to the numerator. So that 2/6 turns into 8/6. And now we can subtract. One thing that's really important to remember is that 7 2/6 is equivalent to 6 8/6. even though we probably never write a mixed number as 6 and 8 6 because it has an improper fraction in there, they are equivalent to each other. So 8 minus 5 would give us 3. We keep the denominator as 6. Then 6 minus 5 would get us 1. We ask ourselves, are we done yet? And the answer is no. Can we simplify? Yeah, this one, 3, is half of 6. So 3 6 would turn into 1 half. Now we have a good answer. So if there's one thing that I would remember from this example and write down in our journal is if you need to borrow, take 1 from the larger place value, change that 1 into a fraction. So change it to 5 over 5, 7 over 7. In our case, we did 6 over 6. That has the denominator as the numerator and the denominator. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add your fraction to create an improper fraction. Something that I use to kind of help me is all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the denominator and add it to the numerator to give me my new improper fraction. And that might be helpful for you. So I know after hearing all this information, you're probably feeling a little bit like this. Could I get any clearer? I feel like I'm being as clear as mud right now. Let's do a couple of problems together, and hopefully after doing a couple, this will become a little bit easier. All right, so we've got 2 problems here. Let's start with the addition problem. We've got 7 1/4 plus 2 7/8. So we're going to make our what I know column. We've got 4 and 8. And I'm hoping as you're doing this more, we're starting to recognize how easy it is to find a common denominator. I'm going to still go up to 5 multiples just because, I'm a high quality student. But if you find your least common denominator a little faster, you're more than welcome to stop a little earlier. Okay, 32, then 40. Looks like our common denominator is going to be 8. To get to 8, I'm going to have to multiply by 2 over 2. Now remember, I'm only going to have to multiply the proper fraction. I don't have to do anything with the whole number. So our new equivalent fraction is going to be 7 2/8. Okay? And this one, 8 is already our common denominator, so we don't really need to do much with it. So we've got 2 7/8. Alrighty. And don't forget to bring over that operation symbol so that you know if you're adding or subtracting. All right, remember, we're going to take a look at these in 2 different place values, okay? Sorry, that arrow went a little, or those lines went a little crazy, but 2 plus 8 would give us 9, okay? So we do originally have 9/8, okay? So I'm going to put that kind of over to this side for just a second. So 9/8 would also be equivalent to 1 1/8, okay? So we don't want to leave that as an improper fraction. So we'll leave the proper fraction at the bottom. We'll carry the 1. 1 plus 7 plus 2 would give us 10. We check if we can simplify, okay? And because we have a unit fraction, which means the 1 is in the numerator, we don't have anywhere we can simplify. So this is a good answer, okay? So 10 1/8 would be our answer. Let's take it one where we're going to be subtracting and having to borrow. Sorry about the number. I had it looking nicer, but it ended up a little hoopty. My bad on that one. But we've got 9 1/9. Subtract 3 2/3. Okay, we're going to make our what I know column. We're going to use 3 and 9. 3, 6. Oh, look at that. We already found one. It's super easy to find a least common denominator. Hopefully that you guys are feeling the same way. Okay, so 9 is going to be our least common denominator. Since we already have 9 at the top, we're just going to multiply by 1. Remember, we don't have to do anything to the whole number. It's going to stay the same. Then we're going to multiply by 3 over 3 because it took us 1, 2, 3 to get to 9. Okay, and that will give us 3 6/9. Okay, now we're going to subtract. We clearly cannot subtract 6 from 1, so we need to borrow. Okay, I'm going to attempt to make those lines again. It's a lot easier when we were just using the slides. Okay, we're going to borrow from this, go next door, borrow. Okay, remember, we're not going to think we're going to just add 1 to the numerator. If we just added 1, it'd be 2/9, and that wouldn't really solve our problem. We're going to be adding 8 over 8. Okay, 8 over 8. And if we do that, that's going to give us or 8 over 8, my bad. I'm looking at the numerator. We're going to be adding 9 over 9. So let me get that mess out of here. Okay, we're going to be adding 9 over 9. So that's going to give us 10 ninths, okay? Or I just think of it, we add the denominator to the numerator. 10 minus 6 would give us 4 ninths, okay? And then 8 minus 3 would give us 5. Then we ask if we can simplify. And 4 is divisible by 2, but 9 is not. 9 is divisible by 3, but 4 is not. And then 5 is too big, so we can't simplify any further than that. So 5 and 4 ninths would be a good answer. Okay? So we are going to get a lot of practice with adding and subtracting mixed numbers, guys. Do not stress about this. We'll definitely pull you guys for some small groups. We'll get lots and lots of work on it, and this will become easier, I promise. Okay? I hope this video was helpful. I hope that you guys enjoy adding and subtracting mixed numbers. If you need any help, please ask your teachers. We're more than happy to help you. We love you guys. We miss you, and we'll see you later. Bye.